What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today, and welcome to Hell Machine's latest release in MX Bikes. This isn't a solo effort, however. He has collaborated with JVDL to bring you this track. The track is called Steckenberg, and it is inspired by a real-life track called Grosbeek. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, in which case I do apologise. My Swedish is not too up to scratch. However, the history of this track goes way deeper than that. So originally, this track was created in 2007 in MX versus ATV Unleashed by JVDL as part of a Rainbow Studios track making contest where it actually won, which I think is really, really cool. And now they've kind of collaborated to bring this up to date for the future in MX Bikes as well. I always love Hell Machine's work. It's just the way that he builds tracks is really, really exciting. This track, it looks a little bit rougher than his previous works. It is a sand track. I've yet to set wheels on it, so I'm unsure if it is sand traction yet or not. But it's got the typical Hell Machine flare. That looks incredibly dangerous. If you are, oh my god, okay, I'd be worried about a fat guy standing there and tipping me over. But it just looks so pretty. It's so nice. And if anybody wasn't aware, servers are working today too. So I did join an online server, but it looks like either everyone's in the pits or I've been disconnected. Either way, we are going to spin some laps on this track because, oh my god, I'm so excited for it. And without further ado, let's get into it.
For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15 fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe.
You can also see here as well, in the track info page, you can just see the overall layout. And it looks like they've actually got a small 50cc track incorporated into the main track itself, which is quite nice. Usually they're just their own completely separate part. We've got a little lake down here. I'm not sure how well you can see that because some of you will be watching this on your phones. But that says a very big jump, which is exciting as I am on the 450 today. So we're going to load in. We are going to put the map on and we're going to put the stand-ins on, even though stand-ins don't matter at all. And we are going to spin some laps, and it is indeed sand traction. Okie dokie. So that's obviously going to change how the track plays completely, but it should still be a-okay. We've got some pre-built erode in here right now, but that is not from the track. That is from the guys in the lobby here with me. Not my server. I just loaded up online and hopped into a random lobby with 2 people in it. But let's see how she goes. Now, when I was flying around just now, it looked like quite an expansive track. Like, oh my god, what's this? Send it. Oh, okay, big steep jump. But when I look over at the track map on the right-hand side, it's not actually as long as I expected it to be. Not the first time I've heard that saying in my entire lifetime. But it's made so far, it's flowing. It's hella flowy, as all Hell Machine tracks do. One thing that I think he does better than anybody else in the game is when it comes to like dirt cutter and stuff, he's somehow able to take the kind of whitish, greyish looking dirt, but still make it look good. I know it's all to do with the masking and texturing side of things, something that I am absolutely atrocious at. As you all know, anytime I start building a track, I let everybody know that I've been building a track about 100 times. It's very, very hard. It's very difficult to do. And again, I would recommend everybody try to make at least one track in your MX Bikes career, let's call it, just so you can see what goes into it and fully be able to understand and appreciate these sorts of things. Because when I see tracks like this release, I actually get a little bit annoyed when I see people complaining that they cost a little bit of money. Like, this is more than a couple of weeks of work, by the way. A lot of time and effort goes into making something like this. And yeah, I mean, for the people that do kind of see that time and effort, and they always reply in the comments to people that have been a little bit, I don't know, like a little bit grumpy that paid tracks are a thing. Thank you so much for being my backup in this constantly ongoing battle. Unfortunately, I will be playing tracks that I want to play, unfortunately. So it doesn't matter how many issues or complaints we get about another paid track video. Like, I like playing this game. I like supporting the track creators of this game. I like seeing the best of the best, and if this is what it takes for people to release tracks of this content, is to get a little bit of remuneration for their efforts, then I'm happy to do so. It really doesn't bother me. I think it's all to each of their own. Nobody forces anyone to buy tracks. It's just if you enjoy the game enough that you want to put a little bit of money into it, then by all means do so. I mean, and I don't see anyone complaining about Legends DLC, for example, with the AMA tracks coming out. People happy to pay for that. I don't see people complaining about battle passes each month on all of their favourite games. So I'm not sure why MX Bikes is treated so differently. I really have to say it's a very, very, very odd thing overall. But let's get off of this this negative side. Let's focus on the positives. This is hella floaty already. My first lap, 1.5 minutes, which again isn't an extremely long lap time by any means, and it's quite odd because it does look like a really long track, but I guess it's because it kind of is all encompassing. It's in its own, I guess, small area. Where does... I saw the entrance to the... No, that's a trail. I saw the entrance just there, or the exit to the pit bike track. Does it... I think it should be around here. It is. Okay, so if you hook a hard right, then if you're on a little 50, if you're on the pit bikes, then have a little ride around here, a little skirt up the inside. Oh, pit bikes would be so pinned around here. That's not meant to be a triple, but 450 life, we can 100% do that. Oh, careful, that sand traction's going to catch me out a little bit. And you'll notice I've been riding the Suzuki, basically the last... I think it's only the last 2 videos, to be fair, but I've been riding it a little bit more outside of the videos. And I have been enjoying it. It's worth mentioning that I've kind of dropped off in the Supercross side of things the last 2 rounds. I've had 2 absolutely shocking rounds. Like, I think they were 2 P9s, somewhere around that, give or take a position. So in points perspective, I'm not doing great. Now, I could look at it as, okay, now I need to sit here and grind multiple hours per day, every single day, to try and get back into some sort of contention. But I kind of want to look at it as, okay, there's not as much pressure now, let's just have a bit more fun with it. So there's a very, very high chance that the Suzuki comes out to play for some Supercross rounds, and I've actually been enjoying it outdoors a fair amount. It's always tough because it does vary from track to track. Depends like what sort of features the track has. If it is a outdoors track, for example, that has a lot of like high acceleration areas, so it's like a tight and twisty track where you don't carry a bunch of momentum everywhere, then the Suzuki's not so good. It lacks in the acceleration department, which is the same reason why in Supercross, if you've got a massive quad, let's say, coming out of a turn, then it struggles a little bit there also. But for tracks that are a little bit more, I'd say, flowy, you know, a little bit more open, where you can carry your momentum around the track, it does a really, really good job, and it's by far my favourite cockpit that exists in the game. I think it looks hella pretty, and yeah, it'd be nice to show the Banana a little bit of love. Join that. I mean, there's a few guys in the community that rock the Banana on a weekly basis, which I have the utmost respect for, but I just love it. I think it's so nice. Might change the sound on it at some point. It sounds a little bit farty for my liking, if that's even the correct word to use for it. But yeah, I'm in a good mood today. I really am, despite only having 5 hours sleep, because I have been staying up until literally 6-7 a.m. every single night. Well, every single morning now, I should say, just grinding away on track building, because my Blender knowledge, very, very small. My Blender skills, even smaller. My Photoshop skills, even though I use Photoshop for thumbnails almost every single day, I kind of only know how to do what I use, if that makes sense. So I don't know all of the ins and outs and how to get perfect texture in, and working with like alpha channels and norms and all that good stuff in Photoshop. It's difficult for someone like me. Some people will be like, that's easy, what are you talking about? But it's easy for you because you've done it before. That's the only way I can explain it. Same as if you've spent a very, very long time in your life using Blender, for example, you'll say, oh, Blender's easy, etc. But for a complete newbie to it, it's quite a difficult program to learn. I'm not ashamed to admit that. So it definitely takes me probably 3, 4, 5 times as long as an experienced person to do the same job. And even when I do the same job, it's of a worse quality. And I think I've done the silly thing of trying to bite off more than I can chew at the moment, because I want... the environments are a huge thing in this game. I mean, look around, Jesus Christ. Like, the environment on this track is nuts. Like, it all matches a colour scheme. You know, you've got your blacks and your yellows going around the entire track. The track textures itself, absolutely beautiful. It's got a good amount of models dotted around with variety enough to make everything look natural. Nothing looks uniform. Like, it's all kind of unique and I think inconsistent is the right word to make things look more natural. There's no like repetitions, like all the trees are different sizes and in different rotations, in different locations, and it's just very, very pretty. And this is the kind of thing that I aspire to get to. It won't end up being like this. And to be fair, I do need to dial it down a little bit because I plan on making 4 or 5 rounds. And I'm currently almost 3 days in terms of hours, so I'm almost 72 hours deep in just track number 1. And I think over half of that has just been in Blender placing and removing objects that I'm not happy with over and over and over again, and then troubleshooting. So it'll get there eventually. I am going to release them one at a time whenever the series happens, rather than in a big bunch, or rather than as and when they're done. They're all going to be finished before anything gets released, so you're going to have a little bit of time to wait before you see anything. But I will happily do a cheeky little video on each one as and when I finish it, because I'm just quite excited to show them off to people. I definitely think the first one that I'm working on right now is much better than my Riverside track that I done. I think visually as well as the actual riding part of it. Now, if you didn't see the preview of it, it is worth me mentioning that it's going to be on kind of pit bikes, but not pit bikes. It's called the OTTM. That's all letters, like Oscar, Tango, Tango, Mike, 110, CRF 110. There is on mods, so go and give that a search up and download it and practice on it. It's an incredibly fun bike, like really, really good fun. It actually is a very, very capable one. You can overjump things by miles and it handles fine. You can rail corners pretty fast and the front end's nice and stable. It's just a really, really solid machine. So I think it's going to be good fun, something a little bit different. And because the bike is actually quite quick, I didn't realise it at first, but the track also rides incredibly well on 125 and a 250, and by chance it rides well on a 450. I got Rum to test it out. He hopped on a 450 and was like quadding into rhythms, and he was just having a good time. You know, like just breaking rhythm sections, like jumping over wall jumps, etc. But I'm not gonna go to the extent of adding like invisible barriers and stuff to stop you doing those lines, because I feel like that's part of the fun of it. So yeah, it'll release as it is whenever it's done. I'd probably give it maybe to the end of the week. I think I'll be done on it. So I'll get a video up on that at some point. We're not going to be racing any aerial this weekend, just as the server upgrades are taking place to make sure everything's all set in place and working. Reason being, it's more of a safety net, I would say, just to ensure that everything is in place and works and it should be, rather than getting to the day itself and then there being issues again. I don't mind it, because I'm meant to be going away this same weekend anyway, so it'll give me I'll probably go away a day earlier than I expected. Spend some time with the missus around the Valentine's weekend, so that should be very, very lovely. And yeah, it doesn't bother me too much. I get to just chill, play a bit of MX Bikes. At least I get to play with the boys now. That's what I was most annoyed by with the servers not working, was just not being able to play with the boys at night. Just barking some Supercross with the Daddy Daycare boys rather than racing aerial, but it is what it is. Maybe we'll get some live streams going again at some point before the Gremlins decide to launch another attack, which, to be fair, they'll probably just wait until the Friday that we're racing on to do it again anyway, because they're sad like that. So, to both Hell Machine and JVDL, you've done an incredible job here. It's expected at this point. They both put out incredible work in their respective areas. I know JVDL does so much that people don't see behind the scenes on the OEM side of things. I mean, he's the person that discovered sort of like the incorrect values in the game that made the previous bikes like all kinds of wobbly and not be able to go up hills, etc. So he puts in a lot of time and a lot of effort that I think goes unseen by most of the community. Very lovely guy. Obviously met him at the LAN event as well, met JV at the LAN event. Did not meet Hell Machine, however. Maybe next year if I qualify, who knows, maybe we'll see him there, since he's going to be helping out a lot with the tracks this year. But really good job all round. Give yourselves a pat on the back, boys. Job well done, I would say, and thank you very, very much for this release. And oh, there you go, someone else is on the track with me right at the very, very end. I've been riding around myself the entire time, and just as I'm about to sign off the video, someone else appears. But that'll wrap it up for me here. I hope you have enjoyed as always, and let me know your thoughts and feedback on the track. I'm very much doubt I'll see much negative today. These sorts of tracks are very, very well received by the general community. If you enjoyed, please do drop a like. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you are new. I would very much appreciate that. And have a lovely rest of the day, wherever you're up to, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.
I'm working hard, I'm sacrificing my life, I'm sacrificing my mind, I'm sacrificing my sanity, but most importantly, I'm sacrificing my time. Boy, I feel fine, I feel like I am a king. Honestly, I can't complain. Even with faith that's the size of a grain of some salt, I will still move a mountain and do what I want.